some games don't just entertain you, they pull you in and make you forget the real world exists. Whether it's the story, the world, or just how everything feels, these games make you live in them instead of just playing. Maybe it's an open world so detailed it feels real, or a story so gripping you feel like you're part of it. Whatever the reason, these games completely absorb you, making hours fly by in what feels like minutes. So if you want a game that truly takes you somewhere else, here are 10 of the most immersive games you need to play. The SOMA. You wake up in an underwater research facility completely alone, or so it seems. SOMA is one of those games that doesn't just feel like a game, it feels like you are really inside its world. From the very start, you wake up in a strange, dark underwater research station called Pathos 2, and something is very, very wrong. The place is falling apart, the lights flicker, and you don't know why you're there. Right away, the game makes you feel lost, confused, and completely alone. The atmosphere is what makes SOMA so immersive. Everything around you feels real. The sound of water dripping, the distant noises of machines humming, and the strange echoes in the hallways. You can hear the deep ocean pressing against the station, making it feel like you are trapped at the bottom of the sea. As you explore, you find notes, computer logs, and recordings that tell you what happened before you arrived. The more you learn, the more you realize how creepy and sad this place really is.
I always got into trouble with Strawmeyer when someone killed themselves.
But SOMA is not just a scary game, it's also a game that makes you think. It asks big questions like what makes someone human? Is it their body or their mind? If your brain was copied into a machine, would that still be you? These questions make the story feel much deeper, and as you go through the game, you have to make choices that will make you stop and think. And then there are the monsters. They aren't just mindless creatures chasing you, they are part of the story too. Some of them used to be people, and now they are trapped in strange robotic bodies. You can't always fight them, so you have to sneak past them, holding your breath and hoping they don't see you. This makes everything feel even more real, because you're not a hero with a gun, you're just a person trying to survive. If you want a game that completely pulls you into its world, SOMA is perfect. It makes you feel like you are really in this deep, dark ocean station, and when you finally finish the story, it will stay in your mind for a long time. The Prey 2017. Prey is the kind of game that makes you forget you're just sitting in front of a screen. The moment you step into the massive space station Talos 1, it feels like you're really there. Everything around you is detailed and realistic, from the way the rooms are set up to the tiny personal notes left behind by the crew. But something is very wrong. The station is almost empty, and shadowy alien creatures called the Typhon are hiding in the darkness. You don't know what happened, and worse, you don't know if you can trust yourself. The game pulls you into its world by making Talos 1 feel real. It's not just a bunch of levels, it's a huge, connected space station where every room has a purpose. The people who lived here before weren't just nameless NPCs. They had lives, jobs, and even little stories that you can uncover by reading emails or listening to voice recordings. You might walk into an office and find a half-eaten meal on the desk, a sticky note with a password, or a game of Dungeons and Dragons that someone never got to finish. Details like this make it feel like you're stepping into a place that was alive before everything fell apart. But what really makes Prey immersive is how it keeps you on edge. The Typhon aliens are terrifying, especially the mimics. These creatures can disguise themselves as ordinary objects. That coffee cup on the table, it might suddenly sprout legs and attack you. This makes every room feel like a trap. You're constantly second-guessing everything, making you feel as paranoid as your character probably does. Instead of just running around shooting, the game forces you to think. You're not some super soldier, you're a scientist. You have to be smart about how you survive. Maybe you sneak past enemies instead of fighting. Maybe you use the glue cannon to create a staircase to reach a locked room. Or maybe you hack a turret and let it do the dirty work for you. Every problem has multiple solutions, and it's up to you to decide how to handle it. And then there's the story. Prey isn't just about survival, it's about choices. Do you risk your own life to save the few survivors still hiding on the station? Do you experiment on yourself with alien powers, even if it makes others fear you? The game reacts to what you do, changing how characters treat you and how the story unfolds. It really makes you feel like you're shaping the world, not just playing through a set path. Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is one of those rare games that makes you feel like a true explorer. From the moment you wake up by the campfire staring up at a sky full of endless possibilities, you're not just playing a game, you're stepping into a universe filled with mystery, wonder, and discovery. There's no hand-holding, no waypoints, no missions telling you what to do. It's just you, your tiny wooden spaceship, and an entire solar system waiting to be understood. What makes Outer Wilds so immersive is how it respects your curiosity. Every planet, moon, and strange space phenomenon is like a puzzle piece, and the only way to put the story together is to go out and explore. You'll land on a planet and notice something strange, maybe ruins buried in sand, a city that disappears before your eyes, or a black hole that sucks up anything in its path. There are no enemies, no combat, just the thrill of figuring things out. Everything you learn feels personal, like a secret that only you have uncovered. And the world isn't just sitting there waiting for you, it's alive. Planets change over time, a deep canyon fills with sand, cutting off certain paths. A fragile comet slowly melts as it gets closer to the sun. A giant ocean world is constantly struck by powerful storms. It makes every moment feel important, like you're part of something much bigger than yourself. But Outer Wilds isn't just about exploring cool planets. At the heart of it all is a deep emotional mystery. You're stuck in a time loop reliving the last 22 minutes before the sun explodes. Every loop, you wake up at the campfire again, knowing that the universe will end soon. It's both terrifying and beautiful. There's no way to stop it, but maybe, just maybe, you can understand why it's happening, and that's where the real magic of the game comes in. Learning the truth about the ancient race that came before, their search for something greater, and what it all means for you. The music, the art style, the writing, it all comes together perfectly to create a sense of loneliness, wonder, and adventure. The simple act of sitting by a fire, roasting marshmallows while staring at the stars, can feel just as meaningful as uncovering some huge secret hidden deep in space. The game doesn't just tell you a story, it makes you feel like you are truly living it. By the time you reach the end of Outer Wilds, you won't just remember it as a game, you'll remember it as a journey, an experience that sticks with you long after the credits roll. It's the kind of game that makes you think about life, time, and the beauty of discovery. If you ever wanted to feel like a real astronaut exploring the unknown, this is the closest you'll ever get. Death Stranding. Imagine a future where the world is broken, cities are empty, and people are too afraid to go outside. Strange, ghost-like creatures roam the land, and when it rains, everything it touches ages super fast. In this lonely world, you play as Sam Porter Bridges, a man with a big job, to deliver supplies, reconnect people, and help rebuild the world one step at a time. Walking might sound simple and too boring, you must think, but in Death Stranding, every step matters. The world is rough and full of dangers. You have to carefully climb mountains, cross deep rivers, and balance heavy packages on your back. If you carry too much, you might fall, and if you lose control, your cargo could be ruined. Even a simple trip from one place to another feels like a real journey, because you have to think about every move you make. The game makes you feel like you're actually out there, surviving in a world that doesn't care about you. But what makes the game really special is how lonely yet connected it feels. Most of the time you're alone, walking through huge empty landscapes with no people around, but other players leave behind helpful things, like ladders to climb steep cliffs, or ropes to help you down a mountain. You never see them, but their kindness makes the world feel more immersive, engaging, and real. I mean, it's like you're not the only one trying to fix this broken place. Then there are the BTs, scary invisible monsters that appear when it rains. The only way to know they're close is by using your robotic shoulder scanner, which points at them. When you see it spin wildly, you have to hold your breath and move slowly, hoping they don't hear you. If they catch you, they pull you into a dark, oily pit where a huge monster tries to take you down. It's terrifying and makes every rainy moment feel intense and dangerous. The story is deep and emotional. It's about life, death, and human connection. Sometimes it doesn't explain everything clearly, but that's what makes it so interesting. You have to figure things out for yourself. The game doesn't rush you, it lets you experience the world at your own pace. And the music, it's perfect. When you're walking through the empty land, soft, beautiful psalms play in the background, making the world feel even more real. Death Stranding is not a game for everyone. It's slow, quiet, and different from most action-packed games, but if you take your time and let yourself get lost in it, it becomes one of the most immersive experiences ever. It makes you feel small in a huge world, but also important, like every step you take is making a difference. It's a journey that sticks with you even after the game is over. Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation is one of the scariest and most immersive games ever made. It doesn't just put you in a horror story, it makes you feel like you're actually trapped on a dark, abandoned space station, being hunted by something you can't kill. The game is set in the Alien movie universe, and you play as Amanda Ripley, the daughter of Ellen Ripley, who is searching for answers about her mother's disappearance. But when she arrives at Sevastopol Station, everything goes horribly wrong. The station is falling apart, people are desperate and dangerous, and worst of all, there's an alien on board. The way this game pulls you into its world is incredible. The space station feels real, like a place that was once alive but is now crumbling into chaos. The lights flicker, old computers hum, and the air is filled with distant sounds. Sometimes it's just the station creaking, but other times it's something else. You never feel safe, and that's what makes it so immersive. You're not just watching Amanda's story, you feel like you are Amanda struggling to survive. And then there's the alien. Unlike other horror games where enemies follow patterns, this creature is completely unpredictable. It doesn't walk on set paths or wait for you to make a move. It hunts you, learns from you, and reacts to everything you do. If you hide in lockers too much, it'll start checking them. If you use your motion tracker too often, it might hear the beep. The alien is always listening, always searching, and always terrifying. Every moment in this game is tense because you never know when it will drop from a vent or suddenly appear around a corner. The game doesn't give you powerful weapons to fight back. Sure, you find a flamethrower later, but even that only scares the alien away for a few seconds. Most of the time, your only option is to hide under tables, sneak through vents, and pray that it doesn't hear you breathing. The sound design makes it even more intense. Every step, every little noise you make feels like it could be the thing that gets you killed. When the alien stomps nearby, you can feel your heart pounding, both in the game and in real life. But Alien Isolation isn't just about the alien. There are also rogue androids called Working Joes, who are just as creepy in their own way. They move slowly, speak in cold robotic voices, and don't stop coming after you. If they catch you, they grab you with terrifying strength, their glowing eyes staring blankly as they choke the life out of you. Even the few surviving humans you meet aren't friendly. Most of them will shoot you on sight because they're just as scared and desperate as you are. This game is a masterclass in immersion. Everything from the retro futuristic technology to the haunting music makes you feel like you've stepped into a classic alien movie. The fear, the tension, the loneliness, it's all so real. If you love horror and want a game that truly transports you to another world, Alien Isolation is one of the best experiences you can have. Just be prepared to feel your heart racing the entire time. Kingdom Come: Deliverance. Kingdom Come: Deliverance is basically what happens when a history nerd decides to make a video game. It's not your usual RPG with dragons and magic. This one throws you straight into medieval Bohemia, where life is tough, swords are heavy, and you can get arrested for stealing a loaf of bread. You play as Henry, just some dude, literally. He's not a chosen one, not a legendary warrior, just a blacksmith's son who suddenly loses everything when his village gets burned to the ground. From there, you're on your own trying to survive, learn how to fight, and maybe get a little revenge along the way. And let me tell you, this game does not hold your hand. Combat, hard. Directions, confusing. Wanna ride a horse? Good luck not crashing into a tree. The immersion here is insane. If you show up to a noble's house covered in mud and smelling like a barn, don't expect a warm welcome. You actually need to eat, sleep, and even wash yourself, or people will start looking at you like you crawled out of a sewer. And fighting, it's not just button mashing. You need to time your attacks, block, and actually think. Swinging a sword around like a maniac will just get you killed. But that's what makes it so good. It feels like you're really there, riding through the countryside, getting into tavern brawls, trying and failing to learn how to read. It's the kind of game where you start playing at noon and suddenly it's 3 a.m. and you're like, oh no, what have I done? If you love deep, realistic RPGs that suck you into their world, Kingdom Come: Deliverance is a must-play. Just don't forget to take a bath. The BioShock Series.
There's already a fight list to this.
The BioShock series isn't just a bunch of FPS games, it's a full-blown trip into some of the most unique and haunting worlds ever put in a video game. Whether it's the underwater dystopia of Rapture or the floating city of Columbia, these games don't just tell a story, they pull you in, drown you in atmosphere, and make you question everything. Let's start with BioShock 2007. You crash land in the middle of the ocean and find a mysterious lighthouse. Next thing you know, you're in Rapture, an underwater city built by a guy who thought rules were for losers. Spoiler alert, it did not not go well. The place is falling apart, creepy splicers are everywhere, and then there are the big daddies, massive drill-armed monsters that will ruin your day if you mess with the little sisters they protect. But what really makes BioShock special isn't just the setting, it's the way it tells its story. Audio logs, hidden details, and one of the greatest plot twists in gaming make sure you never forget your time in Rapture.
Stand! Would you kindly?
Then there's BioShock 2, where you actually play as a Big Daddy. It might not have the same shock factor as the first game, but it nails the eerie, lonely feeling of Rapture and makes the combat feel even better. The moral choices with the little sisters also hit harder here, making you question what kind of person you really are. And finally, BioShock Infinite swaps the deep sea for the sky. Columbia is a floating city that looks beautiful at first, bright, patriotic, almost too perfect, but of course it's hiding some dark secrets. You play as Booker DeWitt, a man sent to rescue Elizabeth, the girl who turns out to be way more important and powerful than she seems. The story gets wild, time loops, parallel universes, all that good stuff, and the ending, let's just say it'll have you staring at your screen in disbelief. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. You wake up in this huge, beautiful land called Hyrule, and guess what? No one's holding your hand. You can literally go anywhere. See that giant mountain in the distance? You can climb it. That weird glowing thing over there? You can check it out. The game doesn't tell you what to do, it just drops you into this massive open world and says, go have fun. And oh boy, fun is an understatement. This world is insane. The wind blows through the grass, animals run around doing their thing, and even the weather changes, but it's not just pretty, it actually matters. If it's raining, climbing rocks get slippery. If you're in the snow without warm clothes, you'll start freezing. You have to think like a real adventurer. And cooking? Yeah, that's a whole thing. You throw some random mushrooms, meat, and spices into a pot, and boom, you've got yourself a meal, or sometimes just a weird mess. But the best part? The crazy stuff you can do. You see a giant metal crate, use your magic magnet powers and throw it at enemies. Want to launch yourself into the air? Drop a bomb, freeze time, hit it a few times, and then jump on top. It's like a science experiment gone wild. The game lets you try anything, and most of the time, it actually works. And the world itself is, it's not just an empty sandbox. There are ruins of old castles, tiny villages where people live their everyday lives, and these mysterious shrines full of puzzles that make you feel like a genius when you solve them. And let's not forget the big bad Calamity Ganon, who's been chilling in the castle, waiting for you to come throw hands. But honestly, the best thing about Breath of the Wild, the sense of adventure never fades. Even after hours and hours of playing, you'll still find new things that make you go, wait, I can do that? It's the kind of game where you get lost in the world, forget about the main quest, and just exist in Hyrule, and that's the magic of it.
You must save her, my daughter.
No Man's Sky. So No Man's Sky, a game that basically throws you into a giant never-ending universe and says, alright kid, go nuts. And I mean giant. There are over 18 quintillion planets. Yeah, I don't even know how many zeros that is, but it's a stupidly big number. You could explore for your entire life and still not see everything. The game starts with you crash landed on some random planet, your spaceship all busted up, and no clue what's going on. So what do? You start gathering resources, fixing your ship, and before you know it, you're off into space, flying between planets like a true space explorer. One moment you're walking through a glowing red forest with weird jellyfish floating in the air, and the next you're on a freezing planet where everything is covered in ice and you're just hoping you don't freeze to death before you find shelter. Every planet is different with its own creatures, weather, and even alien civilizations you can meet. And let's talk about the space travel, because oh man, it's smooth. There are no loading screens when you fly from one planet to another. You just boost into the sky, break through the atmosphere, and suddenly you're in space, surrounded by stars, maybe dodging asteroids or getting chased by space pirates. You can land on space stations, trade with aliens, upgrade your ship, and even build your own little base on a planet you like. Now, No Man's Sky had a rough start when it launched, understatement of the year, but the devs kept working on it, and now it's a whole different game. There's multiplayer, giant space battles, and even missions where you can explore ancient ruins or take on bounty hunter jobs. It's basically a giant sci-fi sandbox where you can do whatever you want. But the real magic is, it's that feeling of exploring the unknown. You never know what kind of planet you'll find next. Maybe it's a paradise with blue oceans and floating islands, or maybe it's a toxic wasteland where it rains acid. Every time you land somewhere new, it's like opening a mystery box. If you've ever wanted to just exist in space, to explore the universe without limits, No Man's Sky is the perfect game for that. The control. You play as Jessie Faden, a woman searching for her missing brother, but instead of finding him in a normal place like, I don't know, a coffee shop or something, she ends up in a secret government building called the Federal Bureau of Control. And this place, oh, it's cursed. The laws of reality, yeah, they just don't apply here. The building, known as the oldest house, is constantly shifting, hallways move, rooms appear and disappear, and sometimes gravity just decides to take a break. And if that wasn't bad enough, there's this creepy force called the Hiss that's corrupting everything, turning employees into floating, whispering nightmares. So naturally, Jessie picks up a shape-shifting gun, because why not, and decides she's going to handle this mess herself. What makes Control so immersive is the way it pulls you into its eerie, unsettling world. Every corner of the Bureau feels off, like reality is just barely holding itself together. One second, you're walking through a normal office space, and the next, you're in some endless, glowing red void where the walls are talking to you. And let's not forget the SCP-style lore. The game is packed with bizarre files and recordings about cursed objects like a rubber duck that teleports when you're not looking at it, or a fridge that has to be stared at 24/7 or it'll kill you. And then there's the combat. Oh man, it makes you feel powerful. Jessie doesn't just shoot enemies, she can throw desks, rip chunks of concrete out of the floor, and straight up fly by the end of the game. Imagine having a gun that transforms in real time while you also have Jedi-like telekinesis and you're dodging bullets in midair. It's chaos in the best way possible. But the best part? Control never really tells you what's going on, you have to piece things together yourself. It constantly makes you question everything, and even by the end you're left wondering what was real and what was just your mind playing tricks on you. It's a game that doesn't just drop you into another world, it drags you in, messes with your head, and leaves you thinking about it long after you've finished playing. The STALKER Series. If Stalker was a person, it would be that one friend who always has wild stories about going into abandoned buildings at 3 AM and somehow making it out alive. This series is all about exploring the Zone, a creepy radioactive wasteland around Chernobyl that's filled with dangerous mutants, deadly anomalies, and people who will absolutely shoot you on sight. It's not just a game, it's an experience, the kind where you start playing at 6 PM and suddenly it's 3 AM and you've been sitting in the dark completely forgetting to eat. The Stalker games, Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Sky, Call of Pripyat, throw you into a world that feels so immersive. You're not some overpowered action hero, you're just a guy with a gun, barely surviving, scavenging for supplies, and hoping you don't run into something with too many teeth. The world is unpredictable. One second it's all quiet and you're looting an abandoned building, the next a random mutant jumps out of nowhere and you're running for your life. And then there are anomalies, these invisible death traps that will literally rip you apart if you step into the wrong place, but if you're brave or dumb enough to go near them, you might find rare artifacts that sell for big money. Risk versus reward at its finest. What makes Stalker so immersive is, again, in these games, is that how alive the world feels. NPCs have their own schedules, factions fight over territory, and you're never truly safe. One time, you might help some soldiers take over a building, and the next time you come back, they're all dead because some bandits or mutants took revenge. The weather also adds to the atmosphere. Rain makes everything feel miserable, and when night falls, good luck seeing anything without a flashlight. It's terrifying. The gunplay is another reason why Stalker hits different. Weapons feel real, they jam, recoil is brutal, and if you don't take care of them, they'll break. Every fight is intense because bullets are rare, armor doesn't make you invincible, and if you get shot in the wrong place, you're done. There's no run in and shoot everything strategy here. You think before you fight, or you just run away and hope no one sees you. And let's not forget about the atmosphere. Stalker doesn't need cheap jump scares. It makes you constantly paranoid. Walking through the zone is like being in a horror movie, even when nothing is happening. You hear distant gunfire, mutant growls, or just the wind howling through abandoned buildings. And when you're deep inside some underground lab with a flashlight that barely works and you hear something breathing nearby, yeah, good luck with that. At the end of the day, Stalker isn't just a game, it's a test of survival. It doesn't hold your hand, it doesn't care if you're struggling, and it definitely doesn't care if you're scared. But if you push through, if you learn the world's rules, and if you embrace the chaos, it's one of the most rewarding experiences out there. Just be prepared for a lot of quick saving and a lot of dying. Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 is like being thrown into a zombie apocalypse, but instead of just surviving, you're basically a parkour master who can jump across rooftops like Spider-Man. Masked Spider-Man had to worry about running out of stamina mid-jump and falling to his death. This game takes everything fun from the first Dying Light, the movement, the melee combat, the day and night terror, and cranks it up to 11. The world is massive, and unlike most open-world zombie games, it's not just about walking around empty streets. The city is, well, as alive as a city full of the undead can feel. Survivors have set up their own communities, factions are constantly fighting, and every choice you make actually changes the city. Help one group and they might fortify the streets with traps. Help another and they might set up windmills to give you better climbing spots. The world reacts to you, which makes it feel like you're not just playing, you're shaping it. And then there's the parkour. Dying Light 2 makes movement feel so smooth that after a few hours, you start looking at real-world buildings and wondering if you could climb them. Every rooftop is an opportunity, every ledge is a lifeline, and when you're being chased by zombies, knowing how to navigate the city is the difference between surviving and becoming dinner. Speaking of zombies, they're a whole different nightmare at night. During the day, they're slow and dumb, easy to avoid, but when the sun goes down, that's when the real monsters come out. The fast ones, the ones that scream when they see you, calling in an entire horde to chase you across the rooftops. It's pure panic mode. Combat is all about brutal melee fights. Swords, bats, makeshift weapons, you name it. The game really makes you feel every hit, and some of the finishers, absolutely brutal. But the best part? You can mix combat with parkour. Drop kicking zombies off buildings, vaulting over them mid-fight, or just running away like a coward, which, honestly, is a valid strategy. Sure, Dying Light 2 has some flaws story-wise. It's not The Last of Us or even as good as the first game, which is a bit of a shame, honestly, but, well, when a game gives you this much freedom, I think it's fair enough. It's about the experience, climbing massive towers, running from zombies in the dead of night, and feeling like a total badass when you chain together a perfect parkour escape. If you want a game that truly makes you feel like you're surviving in a dangerous world, this one is a no-brainer. Just don't look down when you're climbing. The Talos Principle 2. Okay, imagine waking up one day and realizing you're a robot. But not just any robot. You're in this huge, beautiful world full of ruins, sci-fi buildings, and puzzles that mess with your brain. That's the Talos Principle 2. It's a game where you're trying to figure out who you are, why you exist, and what it even means to be alive. But don't worry, it's not just some deep thinking lecture. It's actually really fun and kinda mind-blowing. The main thing you do here is solve puzzles. And I don't mean those easy match 3 types. Nope. These puzzles make you feel like a genius when you solve them. You'll be using lasers, energy fields, gravity tricks, even time travel. Sometimes you'll stare at a puzzle like there's no way this is possible, and then bam, you figure it out and suddenly you feel like the smartest person alive. But what really makes the game immersive is the world itself. It's not just a bunch of random levels. You're actually exploring this giant open world, moving between different areas like futuristic cities, ancient temples, and lush forests. It's the kind of place where you just want to stop and take in the view because it all looks so cool.
Great towers rising towards the sky.
And let's talk about the story, because this game doesn't just want to challenge your brain, it wants to make you think about life. The game is always asking you big questions like, what makes a person? Can a robot have a soul? If there are no humans left, what happens next? It's deep, but in a cool way. You even have conversations with other robots who all have different opinions, and the choices you make actually matter. So if you love puzzle games that feel like an adventure, the Talos Principle 2 is perfect. It sucks you into its world, challenges your brain, and makes you think about stuff in ways you never expected. Plus, let's be real, who doesn't want to feel like a super intelligent robot explorer solving ancient mysteries?
If we believed, if we still had.
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Man, this game is like, you know when you find a really cool picture book, but it's kind of spooky? Yeah, like that. So, you're this detective guy, Paul, and he can see what happened in places kind of like a ghost movie. He goes to this super pretty place, the trees and houses look so real, it's like you're there, but it's empty and kind of weird. You gotta walk around and find stuff like little clues. It's not like a game where you shoot bad guys or jump on turtles. It's more like you're a detective and you gotta figure out what happened to this kid, Ethan. And it's kind of sad, you know? Like the place looks pretty, but it's also spooky, like something bad happened, and you gotta put the pieces together like a puzzle. But the puzzle is a ghost puzzle. It's cool because the game doesn't tell you what to do. It's like, here's the place, figure it out, dude. And when you do figure it out, it's like, well, it's crazy. It's like solving a mystery, but you're in the mystery. Sorry, if I am being weird, but it's sometimes hard to describe games, but yeah, imagine you're walking through a really cool forest, but everyone's gone and you gotta find out why, and you can like see ghosty things and put them together. It's like a ghosty detective adventure. And sometimes the game makes you feel stuff. Maybe you're sad or scared or just like, wow, that's weird. It's not just a game, it's a story, you're living it. If you love exploring and finding secrets and a little bit of spooky stuff, this game is for you. It's like a movie, but you're the star and you're the detective and you're the one who figures out the mystery. It's a walking simulator, but make it spooky and detective-y and pretty. So pretty, you'll forget you're even playing a game. You'll be like, am I a detective now? And then you'll trip over a rock in your living room. Boom, back to reality. The Metro Trilogy. If you ever wanted to experience pure survival in a post-apocalyptic world, these games do it better than almost anything else. Based on Dmitry Glukhovsky's novels, this series throws you into a dark, terrifying, and insanely immersive world where the surface is deadly, monsters lurk in the shadows, and bullets are so rare that they're literally used as currency. Yeah, things are that bad. The story follows Artyom, a guy who grew up in the Moscow metro system after nuclear war wiped out most of humanity. People live in these underground tunnels like rats, trying to survive against not just the horrifying creatures that mutated from radiation, but also other humans, because of course, people are still terrible even after the world ends. Each game, Metro 2033, Last Light, and Exodus, gets bigger, better, and even more immersive. The first two are mostly about sneaking through dark tunnels, listening to every little sound, and praying your flashlight doesn't die while something stalks you from the shadows. The sound design is insane. You'll hear the distant screeches of mutants, the whisper of the wind through crumbling tunnels, and the click, click, click of your Geiger counter reminding you that, yep, you're slowly dying of radiation poisoning. Fun times. Then, Metro Exodus comes along and flips everything upside down. Now you're leaving the metro, exploring the ruined Russian countryside in a semi-open world. But don't get it twisted, it's still a brutal survival experience, just with more freedom. You scavenge for supplies, manually clean your guns to keep them from jamming, and make choices that actually affect the ending. And let's not forget the atmosphere, whether it's trudging through a snowstorm, sneaking past bandits in a desert, or creeping through an abandoned village, this game makes you feel like you're really there. The Metro Trilogy isn't just a shooter, it's a survival simulator that nails the feeling of desperation and isolation. The gas mask mechanic alone is one of the most immersive things ever. When your filter starts running out and your vision gets all foggy and you hear Artyom struggling to breathe, it's straight up panic-inducing. If you love games that pull you into a different world and make you feel like you're actually fighting to survive, Metro is a must-play. Just be ready for some tense moments, low ammo, and the occasional horrifying mutant jumping out of nowhere. Deus Ex Human Revolution. One of the coolest and most immersive cyberpunk games ever made. If you've ever wanted to step into a world where corporations run everything, people are upgrading their bodies with crazy tech, and conspiracies are lurking around every corner, then this is the game for you. You play as Adam Jensen, a guy who starts off as just a regular security dude for a big biotech company, but after a brutal attack leaves him basically dead, he gets forced into a second chance at life, except now he's got mechanical arms, cybernetic vision, and all kinds of insane augmentations that make him feel like a mix of Batman and RoboCop. From that moment on, you're fighting over the future of human evolution, and you're right in the middle of it. What makes Human Revolution so immersive is the freedom it gives you. Every mission can be approached in multiple ways. You want to go in like a silent ninja, hacking security systems and crawling through air vents? Go for it. You want to be a walking tank, blasting enemies with a minigun arm? That works too. Or maybe you'd rather just talk your way through everything like some futuristic detective? Yep, that's an option too.
Take this and get out of here.
And let's not forget the world building. This game nails the cyberpunk vibe. The streets are filled with neon lights, shady back alley deals, and people debating whether cybernetic implants are a miracle or a curse. The music, straight up banger. It makes you feel like you're in a high-tech noir thriller. But what really sells the immersion is the little thing. The way NPCs react to your choices, the emails you can read on office computers, the TV news segments talking about the consequences of your actions. It all makes the world feel alive and real. And of course, there's Adam Jensen Jensen himself, who despite all the chaos somehow manages to sound too cool for everything with his deep, gruff voice. I never asked for this. Yeah, we know Adam, but we're glad we got it anyway. If you're looking for a deep, thought-provoking RPG with insane levels of player choice and a world that sucks you in, Deus Ex Human Revolution is a must play.